Well, hey there, folks. This is Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I do bees. Welcome back to another day in my 2020 beekeeping season. We started in winter. We're finishing up now in the fall, and we're pretty much done. But got another video I'm publishing right now. But this one here, I guess it's our turn in the barrel. We got a hurricane coming again, but this time I think it's actually gonna find us. We've been having rain the last let me see, last night it started, yesterday afternoon we got about a ½ inch yesterday, and it's just drizzling right now. So small outer bands. We're going to be fortunate. It's going to be a fast mover, although it did strengthen, and it's surprising them all because it's strengthening. What is this one? It's called Zeta. So anyway, gotta go hunt down some fuel, because I didn't refill my last two fuel cans for the generator. You know, we get a thunderstorm around here and we lose power for an hour or two. And last hurricane we actually went through here, we had power all through the night, and then after it passed we lost power for a day. Nothing like Katrina though. That was a week or two. I was in Pearl River at that time. That was bad. We were out of power for a couple weeks. That was ugly. But so we're always trying to be prepared. I don't have a big Generac system yet. I'd love to have one, but it just hasn't been in the budget. So gonna go run and see can I refill 2 of my cans. I only got about 10 gallons, and just always like to have at least about 15 to 20 gallons of fuel just in case I got to run the generator. Shouldn't have to. Again, we're fortunate. This is not going to be the type of impact they don't think like the summer storms, just because it's a fast mover and it can only weaken as it gets closer due to the cool water. Anyway, just gonna go out here. I'm gonna check my supers, and what I did is I tie them down, but we don't want these to go over. So you see, I got them all tied down. So just want to be prepared. The biggest thing is trees. So anyway, I tie these down, make sure we got bricks on all our hives, and we'll see what happens. It's supposed to move in this evening, around supper time. So, all right, let me go find some fuel. You see, guys, I hate being one of those last minute people, but I'm gonna go on to another gas station because I can't stand lines. But that's not really bad this time. But I normally always keep through the whole hurricane season at least 20 gallons, and I always through the whole hurricane season keep my truck at least half full. I learned my lesson a long time ago. Obviously I didn't learn it good enough, but then again, we never really have had any kind of significant storm in October, right before Halloween. We don't have them normally, so this is an unusual storm. I have 10 gallons of fuel plus what's in the generator, but you just never know. Here's the other place. Yeah, it's not bad at all. There's actually pumps open. Anyway, going to get a little diesel fuel. I think being we're pretty much on the western side of the storm right at this point, not everybody's sweating it too much. It's just the power outages that get me. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull in here and fuel up with some diesel. All right, so here we go. I'm just walking by my hives. There's nothing I'm gonna do with these hives. They're shielded by trees. They'll get an east wind from that way for sure. But everything's glued down by the bees, and we got some bricks on them, and they'll be okay. They're good and heavy. All these hives are heavy. I got feeders on 2, but the little one being further down, it should be fine. I mean, if we get major winds, it don't matter what you do, strap them down or whatever, they're going over. But I think they'll be fine like they are. Now, notice some bearding. That's that humidity that blew in off of the coast. The first one's a solid bottom with an entrance reducer. Now, the entrance reducers on those strong ones are set to medium, so they can get air, but they're hot. It's so hot and humid. If it was a screen bottom, I'd pull the chloroplast out for them. That hive I would, but they'll be okay. They'll go in when it starts raining and the wind gets tough. These hives here, they're going to get a north wind, they're going to get a easterly wind, so we got some wind blocked somewhat, so that helps. All I'm going to do over here is take this one little nuke down. Look at them. Look at how they've got those entrances guarded and they're soaking wet. So all we're going to do here is take this off because I don't want this blowing over and knocking the jar out and then them getting soaked. A little dash of feed left in there. Alright guys, so we'll strap these down here because they're sitting on top of a hill. There's no windbreak whatsoever. And we'll get a wind from that way. Yeah, from the left. There'll be an initial wind and then one from behind the hives. And it'd be, if we get any kind of 60, 70 mile an hour gusts for any reason, which I don't think we will, but the news put us in that little graphic, but we're kind of right on the fringe of that, then it could knock them over. Now that one I'll probably, I'll think about whether I strap it to the stand. What I don't want is I'll strap one of them to the block down here, and then I'll just strap them on top, because I'd rather them topple over if they do topple over, which I don't think they will, but if they were, I wouldn't want 3 sails pushing the whole stand over. You know what I mean? They got double paving stones on top, so they're weighted down pretty doggone good. But I will route one through there. I don't have enough straps to strap the stand down to the blocks. So we're going to go ahead and put a strap around these just as a precaution. And I don't usually strap mine, but like I said, being on top of this hill, it could get ugly. It smells so good. It'll take a lot to send it over. Alright folks, so all I did is I just strapped the hives individually. I did strap that end hive to the block. Problem with these 4x4 stands, the way I got them, sometimes they get flimsy on the stands. The stand themselves can be flimsy on those blocks. So what I didn't want to do is create a big row of sails to push everything over. We will get a north wind eventually. Those there are bearding or guarding that entrance too. Now this particular hive, I just strapped it down and centered it on the boards because these boards kind of can rock, these 4x4, so we got it pretty solid right now. Solid as it's gonna get. Just have to come by in the morning and check. It's all gonna depend on what kind of winds we get, but we're as prepared as we're ever gonna be. All right, folks, now we wait. This one doesn't appear that it may be too bad, so you know, it's not going to be what Laura and the others were. So that's good news. And honestly, I'd rather come over here than shift west. I could not be grateful that we didn't get it if it shifted west, because those folks over there don't need any more. My goodness, they don't need any more. But you know, we're gonna see what happens with the wind. But again, just as long as your yard's picked up, you ain't got a bunch of junk hanging around the hives to blow around, hey, get it all picked up, and the bees will be okay. And just take a look in the morning, make sure nothing slipped over, and call it a day. All right, well, let's see what happens. If we got any opportunity to get out and see what's happening later, we will go do that. The heavy rain is slacked up a little bit. The eye wall is just south of New Orleans now, down in Jefferson Parish. And it's gonna glide just east of us. And we're a couple hours away from seeing any wind if we see any. So a little wind going on, nothing big yet. Gusts starting to blow through, but I think we're going to be slid pretty well west of this thing. The actual got that steady hurricane wind. In our case, probably tropical storm for us. One thing about it, when you get in a hurricane, what you notice is that the winds are steady, and then you get these gusts like this. It's bending them trees good right now, but you can't see, I don't guess, because it's dark. Maybe you can hear it. Get wet. Oh, it's rocking now. Well, you can't tell. Oh yeah, we're getting it now. The greenhouse is still standing. It's kind of shielded. And we're west of the storm right now. West of the main front of it. Most of this stuff is shielded from the wind because we're at the back of the house. Alright, so hopefully the video's coming out. I don't know. Those bees still bearding under there. Still bearding bees. All wet. So just taking a look at all the hives. Just want to take a look, make sure no trees fell on no hives. Make sure everybody's still standing. Everybody's still standing up, no problems. And these hives still are piled on the front. Just in the rain. Well, everybody's standing. So we had about 20 minutes of real heavy wind, and that was it. And mainly I wasn't worried about them blowing over. I was worried about a big branch or something coming down on them. But everybody looks clear, so going back in. All right, folks, it is the next day. Had to run into town, go to work for a little bit, but all's well. Fast mover, everything went well. And everybody's still standing out here at the pond. And of course, last night we seen everybody was standing out there at the house. So it's 58, 59 degrees. And look, I still got a short sleeve shirt on. What y'all up north think about that? I'm climatizing. Yeah, anyway, beautiful morning. We never have that after a hurricane. 50s? Usually it's sweltering 90s because they happen in the summer and they bring all the Gulf moisture up. But what pushed this hurricane to the east was a cold front that came out of the northwest. And it was literally right beside it, pushing it. And as soon as it passed, the temperature began to drop. So very unusual. And now what we have is sustained 15-mile-an-hour winds that are nice and cool. So all the hives are standing out here. Everybody's doing just fine. They're just starting to come out because it's getting into the 60s. So everybody's just starting to kind of come on out. Remember yesterday they were crowded on the front because it was hot. So anyway, everybody's fine. Well, alrighty, folks, that's it. It was a fast-moving storm. We were on the western side. It wasn't that bad over here. Listening to a couple fellas I know over in the St. Tammany side, where Slidell and those guys actually, the eye wall moved across those guys. All I heard from a couple of guys that have bees was that their power was out. Nothing bad about their bees. It was strong winds, no doubt, over here. And I was quoting some speeds, or guessing some speeds. I wasn't quoting them. And right now we've got a 10 to 15 mile an hour wind. What we had last night was a sustained 30 mile an hour wind in the tops of the trees. It's a real high wind. My wind vane doesn't pick it up because my wind vane is low, but the tops of the trees were bending. And then you get those big gusts. And I think, you know, when we had the big gusts, we had some pretty significant gusts. And the heavy sustained wind was only for about 20 to 30 minutes. The 20 to 30 mile an hour sustained stuff was sitting there it was blowing for an hour, hour and a half, maybe close to 2, but I think it was more like an hour, hour and a half. It just stayed blowing. That's the thing with the hurricanes, they stayed blowing. It just blows and blows and blows, and then you get the big gusts. So we didn't get any eye wall stuff. We just got a couple strong bands because again, it was west of us. And right now we have that steady 10 to 15 mile an hour wind is what the weather is saying it is. Nice cool breeze. So anyway, it was a fast mover. It went through, and honestly, it was just about like a normal major thunderstorm that we get around here, except it lasted a little bit longer than a normal thunderstorm would. But that's about what it was like. So a little bit of cleanup, some branches here and there at work, and same with the house probably. But other than that, bees all made it fine. Everybody made it fine. Praise the Lord, it was a fast mover, and praise the Lord it didn't go over to Lake Charles again. Guys, I appreciate everybody that's joining us. I appreciate y'all watching. If you like the content of the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. It doesn't cost you a dime. And don't forget to share this video with your friends, your family, anybody just enjoys watching bees. This is Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I do bees. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, and God bless you.